Though the franchise began all the way back in 2002 with the release of the first game, Mafia 3 seems to mark a new age for the franchise, complete with an entirely different setting. That setting is the New Orleans stand-in, New Bordeaux. And thanks to 2K for working with us to produce to you some exclusive gameplay. So, this week we're going to be digging into a few of the inspirations behind the series. The goal of Mafia 3 is to build your own criminal empire by taking down the competition. And one of the biggest influences of the game did just that. Nicky Barnes, better known by the name of Mr. Untouchable. Like Lincoln Clay, the Vietnam vet you play as in Mafia 3, who got his start working with the Italian mob, the real-world drug lord Nicky Barnes got his start in a similar way, by working for the Colombo crime family, headed up by Joseph Colombo, a New York-based criminal operation. But much like Lincoln, Barnes eventually left to form his own crime family. In the case of Nicky Barnes, it was the Council, who became the most powerful heroin dealers in New York. Mafia 3 senior writer Charles Webb talked about the influence of the real-life crime world with Game Informer, saying, "We kept coming back to Nicky Barnes, who's interesting because the dude was a cool player. He cut a very striking figure. He was a criminal, but he was also a guy who snitched on his own people and left a lot of bodies in his wake. It's too early to tell if things will end up the same way for Lincoln." The previous Mafia games pulled most of their inspirations from movies like the first two Godfather films. For Mafia 3 though, things have changed. The game is set in 1968, when organised crime's glory days were quickly coming to an end. So, the team turned to another movie for inspiration, Martin Scorsese's gangster classic, Goodfellas. Charles Webb talked about this saying, "We're the second half of Goodfellas, where it all starts the road, and Ray Liotta is coked out of his mind, and paranoid and looking over his shoulder. There are characters exactly like this in our game." But not all the influences of Mafia 3 are crime related. Some are a lot more unexpected. Because the game is set in 1968, a landmark year in the civil rights movement in the USA, the writers felt it was important to research the racial tension of the time as much as they could. To do this, they turned to a few sources. One was an early Playboy interview with NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown. In the interview, Brown talks about the racism he encountered in his youth. William Harms, the game's lead writer, told PC Gamer, he tells his story about how he was driving through the South with some friends, and then they got pulled over by the police because their car put some dust on white people. Like, that was why they were pulled over. The only reason he got out of it without it being a problem was the fact that he was playing football for Syracuse University at the time, and another police officer came up and recognised him. Another source was even more obscure than that, a documentary called The Black Power Mixtape, 1967 to 1975. Found in 2011 in a Swedish archive after decades of being forgotten. The film showcases dozens of interviews with leaders of the Black Power movement during the era. The team watched the film to get a sense of African American life in the late 60s. According to Webb, this isn't a soapbox, but we want to have that era feel like a real place rooted in a place and time. When it came to finding the tone of the story, the writing team took to TV for inspiration, especially the second season of the Southern crime show Justified, which focused on a war between the law enforcement and a local Kentucky crime family. According to Charles Webb, the big thing in that show for me is the importance of the family, and even if you want to, you can't deny it. You cannot get away from it. Last but not least is a book about the drug trade, Cocaine Cowboys, and the documentary American Desperado. Both are about the infamous drug smuggler John Roberts, who is known as kind of a real-world Scarface. His life is filled with crazy illegal stories, and the team at Hangar 13 studies his life closely when creating the culture of the mob in the game. According to the lead writer, when the developers were trying to figure out if what was going on in the story was too crazy or over the top, they could look to Cocaine Cowboys to find a criminal that had done something even crazier. They were also interested in how John Roberts grew a criminal empire, since that was also Lincoln's goal in the game. No comment showcase this week, but we do still have some time for trivia. Last week we asked you what attraction wasn't within Fallen Nuke World's Kiddie Kingdom, and the answer was in fact A. Nuke-Arcade. This week we have a Mafia question. What was the name of Mafia 2's fictionalized New York City? Is it A. Gotham, B. Newport City, C. Yorktown, or is it D. Empire Bay? Tell me your answer in the comment section below. And speaking of Mafia 2, I've got something to brag about. Yeah, so I've actually met the lead writer of Mafia 2, Dan Vavra, in person, and I've even had lunch with him. He was a pretty cool guy, and it was pretty cool to meet him because I'm a fan of Mafia, and I'm pretty excited for Mafia 3. What about you guys? Have you played Mafia 2? Did you really enjoy it? Did you enjoy Mafia 1 if you had the chance to play it? And are you hyped for Mafia 3? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. My name is Andrew or Stally111, and I just wanted to thank 2K again for flying one of us out to their studio to help gather some gameplay and research for this video. We hope to bring you guys some more exclusives like this in the future, so please do help us out by leaving a like and sharing this video with all of your friends. Thanks, and I hope to see you guys on another one of my videos.